In this short video, I'm going to talk about the way to use Vaitara practice for the long life of our spiritual mentors. In general, Vaitara practice, whether we're talking about Vaitara as taught in Atisha's tradition, in Bari Lodzawa's tradition, and so forth, the great lineages of Vaitara practice that have come from India, includes many methods that can be used either to gradually progress towards full awakening, or that could be used to strengthen some positive aspects of interdependence that we find ourselves in. For instance, since Vaitara is quite strongly associated with the qualities of wisdom, merit, and longevity, we would find methods associated with strengthening the positive interdependence that would support our own longevity, the longevity of our spiritual mentors, the longevity of our friends, loved ones, and so forth. So Vaitara is sometimes associated with healing practices, amongst other things. And of course, some practice instructions have to do with purifying interdependence so that our spiritual mentors live long, can continue teaching us, guiding us towards full awakening, and so forth. And of course, at the root of all of that lie the same principles that pervade Vaitara practice, or really any other deity practice, any other Tara practice, and so forth in general. So to use this practice correctly, we have to generate a positive motivation, and not just a positive motivation, but ideally the aspiration of bodhicitta, the aspiration to attain full awakening for the benefit of all beings. We need to cultivate a certain level of wisdom that understands the empty nature of all phenomena and that sees the interdependence of everything that exists and that can be perceived. In addition to that, we have ideally to cultivate a certain level of pure perception and a certain level of faith towards this practice, trust towards this practice. We need to trust the fact that through skillfully using deity visualization, deity mantra, and the wisdom of the deity, we can activate positive aspects of interdependence, we can manifest our own Buddha nature, and we can change the fabric of reality in positive ways. And one of the manifestations of that would be, of course, the long life of our spiritual mentors. So, depending on whether we have received a Vaitara initiation, or ideally actually a sequence of initiations that combine into the whole set of transmissions that we need to do this practice in its fullest form. Depending on whether we have received something like that, the practice instructions would be taught in slightly different ways. So those who have received the full transmission for Vaitara practice, whether in Atisha's tradition or Bari Lodzawa's tradition, any other of the great lineages, they would ideally also receive practice instructions that explain how to modify the visualization, the mantra, and so forth in elaborate ways, and then how to use that practice for the long life of one spiritual mentor or a loved one, and so forth. In this case, I'm going to describe the simplified version of this practice that can be used by anyone regardless of whether you have received a specific transmission, as long as there's a positive motivation, there's a certain level of wisdom, and there's a certain level of trust towards this practice. So to use that, we would ideally first start by settling our body, speech, and mind in their natural state. And for that, we can now spend a few moments releasing all types of deliberate activity and allowing our body, speech, and mind to find a certain level of ease. Releasing all types of deliberate physical activity, verbal activity, and mental activity, in order to settle down in the unified state of stillness, silence, and spaciousness. And with our breath moving freely, with our minds settling down in the aspect of simplicity where we don't identify ourselves with any of the mental events that arise, we can first generate an extremely positive motivation for doing this practice. In general, it's the motivation of bodhicitta, our wish to attain full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. More specifically, it's the wish to use this practice that has come to us through many generations of realized masters, in particular masters of White Tara practice lineage, to use this practice in order to support the long life, the longevity, the dharmic activities of great realized beings that abide in this world and make this world a better place. And although in our practice we might be focused on one specific teacher or a group of teachers that come to mind and that we have a connection with, of course, we would ideally also want for all the great bodhisattvas that are openly or secretly present in this world to have limitless longevity, limitless resources, for all their holy wishes to be fulfilled. So that's the more specific motivation for this practice. And we can spend a few moments aspiring for that. Strengthening this wish, this idea in our mind. And with this foundation of being cognitively intelligent about what we're aspiring for, still resting in this state of ease, we allow the luminous aspect of our mind to manifest an image of White Tara above our crown. First, a beautiful multicolored lotus flower with numerous petals, fresh, fragrant, beautiful and inspiring our mind, reminding us that our own Buddha nature can similarly be uncovered and then inspire all beings with its beauty. Above that lotus flower is shining moon disk, a moon cushion that is extremely soft, that is softly glowing, and that is, through its glow, through its light, dispelling and soothing all types of suffering. And on that, we see White Tara herself, sitting right there in a body made of radiant white light, white like purest snow, representing the quality of pacification, soothing. In the full lotus posture, with her legs fully crossed, her right hand on her right knee in the gesture of supreme giving, palm up, her left hand at her heart, holding the stem of an utpala flower, dressed in beautiful silk garments, with beautiful jeweled ornaments that represent her mastery over different types of prana, different enlightened qualities. And possessing 7 eyes, 3 eyes on her face, and then an eye on each palm and on each foot, representing her ability to perceive beings in 7 types of existence. In some interpretations, that means that she can see beings in the 6 types of rebirth and also beings in the bardo state. And what it means is that White Tara's limitless compassion and wisdom can perceive all beings, and because she's infinitely compassionate and loving, she wants all beings to be free and to be happy, and to especially find the ultimate happiness of full awakening. So that's what we are reminded of when we think of White Tara sitting right there above the crown of our head. She manifests in this form to guide us and all beings towards full awakening. And then, the next part of this practice is to imagine that light streams forth from the white tam syllable in Tara's heart. And these infinite rays of light, shaped like hooks, go out into all the parts of the universe, and they gather the energy of vitality, longevity, well-being, health, wisdom, merit. And to be more specific, they gather the vital energy of the 5 elements. They gather all life energy that has been scattered or lost. They gather and invoke the blessings of all the beings that have realized the siddhi of longevity. And they also invoke and invite all the blessings in general, all the types of blessings bestowed by fully awakened beings, all types of merit, all types of wisdom, all positive enlightened qualities, and these coming together dissolve in White Tara's heart, making her form even more radiant, more glowing, more majestic, reminding us of the majesty of our own Buddha nature. So in this way, White Tara above our crown becomes the unified embodiment of all that is good, virtuous, transformative, healing, and especially a unified embodiment of merit, transcendental wisdom, and longevity. The 3 qualities specifically named in White Tara's activity mantra. When we say Om Tare Tutare Ture Mama Ayu Punya Jnana, Ayu stands for longevity, Punya stands for merit, and Jnana translates as transcendental wisdom or primordial wisdom. And so these are the 3 qualities that we especially need to strengthen to create positive interdependence for our own long life and for the long life of our spiritual mentors. Then we imagine that in our own heart there is a flat moon disk, once again glowing gently, and on that moon disk sits our own spiritual mentor, or all of our spiritual mentors together. And implicitly we also can think that other sentient beings that might need our prayers and support, might need healing or a boost to their longevity, they're also implicitly present there. But since in this case we're doing this meditation for the long life of our spiritual mentors, we imagine them sitting there on this glowing disk, and to create the positive interdependence for their long life, we imagine that from White Tara's body, a limitless, infinite, boundless stream of blissful nectar of longevity starts flowing forth. This blissful nectar of immortality, longevity, health, well-being, merit, wisdom enters our own body through our crown. It reaches our heart, and it transforms both our own bundle of interdependence and all the interdependence that exists between us and our spiritual mentors. And while focusing on this visualization, the visualization of absorbing boundless blessings that are completely transformative with regards to our perception of reality, our perception of our spiritual mentors, and so forth. While doing that, we can rely on the transformative power of White Tara's mantras. So there are 3 mantras that we can recite or chant in this case. The first one is the longer mantra, sometimes referred to as White Tara's mantra, but it's actually White Tara's activity or action mantra. And normally when we recite it, we say Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Mama. And Mama here means me. So we're asking White Tara to multiply, strengthen, or enhance our own longevity, merit, and wisdom. However, according to the practice instructions of the oral lineage, in this case, when we're doing this practice for our spiritual mentors, we replace the word mantra with the word guru, because we're reciting this mantra for our spiritual mentors. Alternatively, in the Tibetan tradition, sometimes the word guru nam is used, and nam is just the plural suffix in Tibetan language, so that can be loosely translated as all gurus. However, in the instructions that I've received, the word guru in itself was described as sufficient. So we can just recite that form. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Guru, Ayu Punya Jnana Pushtim Kuru Soha. May the long life, merit, and transcendental wisdom of all gurus be enhanced and multiplied. So I'll recite this mantra a few times and then we'll move on to the shorter one, but if you want, you can pause the video here and recite this longer action mantra for as long as you want. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Guru, Ayu Punya Jnana Pushtim Kuru Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Guru, Ayu Punya Jnana Pushtim Kuru Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Guru, Ayu Punya Jnana Pushtim Kuru Soha. Then, still with the same visualization of limitless flowing nectar that is transformative, healing, enhancing, we can recite Tara's root mantra, Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. And once again, this can be done for as long as you want. If you pause the video and just keep chanting, or recite it quietly, or even recite it mentally in some cases, if that's the only option that's available. All of these are absolutely fine. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. 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 And finally, Tara's shortest mantra, although we could also sometimes recite her seed-syllable tongue. But one of Tara's shortest mantra is just her name in the vocative case. We're inviting or invoking Tara. And in that form, Tara becomes Tare. So that's what we can chant for a short while, inviting Tara's activity, still with the same visualization of boundless transformation brought about by this limitless stream of blissful nectar. Tare, 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 tare. Then we take a moment to actually feel or imagine that this practice has been effective. We can imagine that, or feel, that positive interdependence has been created, that negative aspects of interdependence have been removed. Because all phenomena are empty of inherent existence, things can be changed, transformed, altered. Not randomly, but through proper application of causes and conditions. And through doing this practice, we have created and strengthened some positive causes, not just for long life, not just for the long life of our spiritual mentors and great bodhisattvas in the world, but actually through positive karmic interdependence, through a positive karmic feedback loop, we have also created causes for our own flourishing and well-being. And if we're truly passionate about the bodhisattva path, we would want to use that longevity, our health, our resources, and so forth to serve beings, to serve the world. So as we generate that aspiration, we can imagine that white Tara above the crown of our head melts into light. And this boundless rainbow-like light absorbs into our own being. And then we release even the concept and the image of our own being as well. Resting in boundless spaciousness. And then out of that spaciousness, which is empty of inherent existence, arises the thought of dedication, dedicating the energy of our practice. First, to full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings, as soon as possible. Then, dedicating that same energy to bodhicitta being born in the hearts of all beings. And along with that, also a true realization of the nature of reality. And along with that, also true practice of nonviolence and all the other aspects of the path. And then, coming back to our special purpose, our special aspiration for this practice, dedicating all this energy to the long life of all genuine spiritual mentors in this world, the great bodhisattvas, in whichever form they manifest. May their bodhisattva activity be successful. May they continuously bring benefit to all beings. And may we ourselves support that activity and also become great bodhisattvas and then fully awakened Buddhas that constantly bring benefit to all. And then to end on a positive note, we also think of auspiciousness, wishing for all days to be auspicious, for all nights to be auspicious, for both days and nights to always be auspicious, and for everything to be pervaded by the auspiciousness of the three jewels and of white Tara as their unified embodiment.